So when we got done with Infamous 2, we had given players this choice if they wanted to kind of heroically sacrifice Cole or keep him alive at the expense of kind of the human population. The game shipped, and we started seeing trophy data, and 78% of players decided to sacrifice Cole. So we wanted to honor their choice. Moving forward onto the next game, we said, all right, well, Cole's dead. People have voted for this. Let's make a new hero. And that's where Delsin came from, really.
The origin story for Delsin is that he's dragging this guy out of a bus crash. And this guy happens to be a conduit, superhuman who can control smoke. And Delsin, he notices smoke around his hands, and he doesn't know what's going on at this point. But it turns out that he's actually absorbed some of this guy's ability to control smoke. And we would be foolish if we didn't have him encounter, another conduit along the way and absorb some other powers. But for now, smoke is what you got.
Smoke was a really good challenge. It is more fluid. It actually, there has to be this sense that this is something that, even when it's like geysers of smoke that's pushing an APC across the street or across the block, it still has to feel like it's something that's flowing more out of him as opposed to something that he's still trying to keep under control. So a lot of the stuff in the past had to do with really contorted hand poses and then just trying to keep everything in check, almost like a photon blaster. And this time around with smoke, it's more about how does it come out and then from that point in time feel strong. And usually so it's more about like reach out, grab, and then twist and turn and move with it.
Well, Delsin's smoke power allows him to move really quickly, very fluidly through the environment, zipping up and down the sides of buildings, zipping through enemies and chain link fences and obstructions.
For me, the center of these games is the powers that we get to reveal to the players. We get to sit around and think of smoke and other power types and how we could make them do things and look better than we could have done on prior hardware. That's just kind of engineering and art fun.
My development background is from first-person games. There's a lot of very subtle nuance that first-person games have been working on for years and years and years that third-person games can benefit pretty directly from. Usually when people call me Mr. 30 Seconds, they're referring to something else. But I appeared on camera at some point and talked about 30 seconds of fun. And I think that's become kind of a shorthand for a certain style of game where you nail simple mechanics that can be combined in lots and lots of different ways. And I think that's the aesthetic that I'm trying to bring to Infamous Second Son.
You learn a lot from sitting in focus tests, and I'd see people play Infamous 1 and 2 and see the way they behaved. I'd then see Cole in a cutscene and I'd say, well, these don't look like the same guy, you know what I mean? And so we want to make sure that the new hero of Second Son, Delsin Rowe, is kind of the personification of what I view as like player interest in game. In a word, playtesters are all about mayhem.
We wanted the connection between what you intend and what your character does on screen to be as streamlined and simple as possible. So we took a pass on the controls and removed some of the complexity that was preventing people from interacting with the game in as natural and kind of expressive a way as possible.
For us, we've been able to kind of like get the best of both worlds because we're taking an existing universe that we're very familiar with and has a strong backbone to it, and we're exploring a different facet of that. And it's been great. It's been exhilarating because it's like we get to go through and say, okay, here's our rules that we've already established. Here's what the game is like and everything. Now let's think about it in a different light with a different character that we can build from the ground up and make just as exciting.
So it's very much sort of in the same fabric of those games, but it stands on its own. I mean, it's a continuation of the universe, but it's really a new window into it. It's a new character with new abilities in a new city, and I think that we don't want to get wrapped up in spending the first 10 minutes of the game explaining to you what happened. It's rather, hey, look, that happened. Here's the new story. Here's where we're beginning.